Hello! This is a video to show you how to teach a newly hatched Norn how to learn the language and a couple of other concepts in Creatures 1. So I've started up a brand new world. This is what you should see when you start up the game. And I should note that this video is for both new and old players to kind of get an idea of my method for teaching creatures. It's obviously not the 100% correct way. Nobody has to do it this exact way. You can follow along with this, you can add your own twist to it, or just ignore it completely. The nice thing about creatures is that everybody can play it in their own individual way. So don't take this as the end-all of what to do when you have a new game, but hopefully you'll learn a little something along the way. So one of the first things that I recommend doing is clearing out any distractions that are going to be located up near the learning computer. So piece of food, we'll move that. Still want to keep them nearby because we're going to need these eventually, but to start off with, we don't need these Norns getting bothered by a bouncing ball, for example. So you really want to clear out everything up here, and that should be pretty much it. The other thing you want to make sure of is that there are no other Norns or Grendels in the region, if possible. This is a new world, so there's nobody in it right now, but a crowd or even just one other Norn can be the most distracting thing in the world. And trying to teach a baby Norn new concepts in the language is pretty much impossible when they're looking at somebody else that seems a lot more interesting than the player, who is represented by the hand in the world. So if possible, make sure that it's kind of this region is clear of anybody else. This is also going to help form a bond between the new Norn and the hand. Good positive association with it so that this Norn is going to be more apt to follow along with the commands and also look forward to seeing the hand. So that's that. Another thing to keep in mind is that you want the lift on the lower level here. We're kind of going to use it to kidnap this baby Norn, but definitely have it in position. If it's not, you can either use the lift buttons to move it down or summon it with the button right here. And the last concept that we're going to look at in preparing the world is with the learning computer. You can start it up with any of the three buttons at the top and start navigating through just to kind of get an idea of what the words are going to be. I customize some of these words with this button. Instead of yes, I use good. Instead of no, I use bad. It's personal preference. You can do whatever you want here. If you want to, you could use a different language and kind of learn that along with the Norns. The only thing to keep in mind is that you really should have a good grasp of what these words mean. You don't really want to use gibberish. As you'll see, a new Norn uses gibberish quite enough, and the only other one I change is sleep. I change to rest. Again, it's all personal preference. Leave it as it is if you'd like to. That's perfectly fine. Use whatever you want. As I said, this is just what I do. So, that's pretty much it in terms of the world preparation. And we're about ready to meet our new Norn. Alright, so now we have a new egg in the world located right here. You might find one from the hatchery. This one I injected using the genetics kit, or you might have another egg already in the world that came from a pair of Norns. However you get the egg, just carry it over to the incubator, plop it in there, and it's going to start warming it up. So this is kind of the waiting phase of getting ready for the Norn. Again, you can make sure that everything's kind of cleared away and that everything is looking good. This is the time when other Norns might pop in here, but just try to keep them away as much as possible so that we're going to just be moving this Norn literally right to the lifts, traveling up, and then we're going to be focusing him or her on the learning computer. Just one thing to keep in mind, it's about ready to hatch. I always pause the game right as a Norn hatches. So we're going to do that just as it pops out. So get ready to meet our little guy. There he is. He's a little cute little guy. Double click on the birth icon that shows up at the bottom. This will open up the owner's kit, where we're going to be giving this little guy a name. So, unnamed is what everybody's named to start with. We are going to call this little guy George, and we're going to register that. So the nice thing about this is this means that he now knows his name. You don't have to teach it to him, he knows it now. If you want to, you can stop at the photo album, take a photo, just so you have it on file if it's in there, so you can take a look at what he looked like earlier in life. So that's it, we can close that out, and we're going to get ready now to interact with this little guy. So to get his attention, we'll first unpause it, And actually, oh dear, didn't mean to slap him. Don't do that. He's already moving. Normally you can say their name, and I'm actually going to start typing it just so I can get him to be interested over here so that he's not going to ride up and down the lift. And we're going to start him off on the learning computer. And he should get interested in this. Now normally Norns can actually go through this, and you'll see he's interacting with the computer so that he can learn the words on his own. I always stop and make sure that they learn each word and say it correctly at least 4 or 5 times. The reason for this is that they will encounter the Grendel at times and other Norns who may or may not know the language. You want to make sure that these Norns are going to know the language and be able to teach it to others, and that they're not going to revert back to their original concepts of how to say the words, which are incorrect. So he's doing really well. So you'll see that he's very interested in the computer. Most Norns are. It's very hard to get him to look at anything else again because we've removed all those distractions. So he's going to go through this and have a fun time of just listening and saying the words. You want to make sure that he stays focused on this, and what I usually do is I'll stick around and continue to interact with the computer so that he hears the words, so that he can say it. And again, it takes a little bit of time, and yeah, this is time consuming. I'm not going to lie and say, you know, you're not just pressing a button and he's done. This is a learning process though, and if you want to, as he's going through this, you can offer your Norn a couple of tickles just to kind of reward them for actually learning the language. You really don't want it to punish them for saying the word incorrectly at first. You can see he's doing that, but he's definitely trying to learn. So he's definitely being a good boy right now. We'll get him to say that one more time. Good. You are all set. So while he's doing that, you might want to open up the creature's eye view. Oops. Not exactly the right place. And what this is this will show you what he's focused in on. Right now he's on the computer. You can give him a tickle. We can actually type in computer and repeat it. Either type it in again or use the command Control S to repeat it. And now he knows what the computer is. So he's having a good time up here. It's a computer. Alrighty, so I think we've done a pretty good job with teaching him the verbs. Next up, you're going to want to teach him some other words, and he's very hungry, so I recommend grabbing a honey pot because it doesn't run out and he doesn't run out immediately. That's food. He's looking right at it. And we'll make sure that he knows it's food, and he is happy because he's not as hungry anymore. Honey is a little bit of a junk food. It really lowers the need for hunger very quickly, but it doesn't offer that much nutrition. So it's a good way to teach because with cheese and carrots, they usually will eat it up right away before you can even tell them what it is. Now he's focused on the hand right now. I'm going to tell him that's Jessica. You can call yourself whatever you want. You can just call it hand. You can say mommy, daddy, thing, whatever you want to do. I say Jessica just so it's a little bit more personal, and it's kind of cute for them to sort of interact like that. Now he just said rest. This is good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the hand away and let him lay there. There's 2 types of resting that a Norn can do. Resting in terms of tiredness and exhaustion, just staying still will lower his tiredness and make him less tired. Falling asleep will lower tiredness and sleepiness, but tiredness, that usually goes up a lot more quickly. So he's just staying still and resting. This will also help him with learning. It's difficult to praise him at this point because if you do praise him, he'll immediately get up and be interested in what's going on. And I'll just try to demonstrate that. If I tickle him, he gets right up. So it's hard to praise him for resting. Resting is one of the most difficult concepts to teach. However, what I want to do is I want to try to move the honey out of there. But in the meantime, we can type in look and keep an eye up at the creature's eye view. He's looking at the lift button. I'm going to start teaching him some words. So it's a button. He's trying to push it, but the lift is already at the top. Now he's doing a good job, so we'll offer in some more tickles. Again, you really want to have a positive association with the hand. You really shouldn't be slapping or saying no or bad at this point. Of course, the first thing I did by accident was slap him when he was born, so it wasn't off to a very good start, unfortunately. I'm going to move the honey out of here for just a second, because you'll notice the life force, the lower area here, that should be up around 77%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say push food, and we'll see if his view actually looks at the food. He's still interested in the button. We'll repeat ourselves because remember, he's a newborn baby. He's very interested in his world. But there he goes. He did listen. So he did a very good job there. You can also bring in some other items. Maybe we'll bring him a toy. Yep, and he just looks right at that. That's a toy. And again, make sure you repeat the word a few times just so that he gets the concept in his mind. And we'll see if he wants to push the toy on his own. Sometimes it's a little difficult for them to grasp all these concepts, but this little guy is doing a great job. And he bounced the ball and he's walking away from it. He's having a good time. So that's pretty much it in terms of education and the first moments of life. He's off to a great start. He seems to like bouncing the ball and running away from it. It's a strange behavior, but I guess he's enjoying playing. I'm going to drop the honey near him again so that if he wants some food, he can grab it. But he seems enraptured with the ball, though he's being a little camera shy right now. So that's it for education, and the next step is we're actually going to explore a little bit of Albia with him. So little George is still up here. He sees the hand, and what I want to do is we're going to move him out of this little area that he's been accustomed to. There are two ways out, either by the lift, which is my preferred method, or you can use the teleporter, although I don't recommend that just because it'll drop him off in the middle of the world. Not really middle of the world, but a little further away. He doesn't seem to like to follow. Although, there he goes. We're going to be, I'm going to show a concept of how to teach a Norn how to come and to follow the hand in a minute. We might have to use it here, but first, I'm going to see if he can look at the lift buttons. We're going to call that the lift. Again, you can use whatever words you want, just be aware of the category system in Creatures 1. He's not going to know the difference between honey, carrots, and cheese. He's going to know those as food. Now, he's not really interested in moving, so if I type in come, he does come. Okay, that works. Once we get to the lower level, I will show you another way to get a Norn to follow. He's not exactly in the lift yet. There we go. So then while he's there, we will do that. Again, he said rest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him have a little bit of space and a little bit of quiet time. But he's not too interested. So can you listen again? He is good. He's a very good boy. So continue. Having a Norn follow you, the hand, is really a useful concept, especially later in life when you want to try to separate them. He's very fond of the hand, as you can see, and this is what you want from a Norn. You want him to not be afraid of the hand. You want him to look at it when he or she sees it. And another thing we can do in the meantime is to teach him more concepts and more words. And I'd say fire. And he's gonna, I hope he doesn't touch it. Now most Norns will touch this and say ouch because it's very hot. It does hurt, but it's something that a lot of them do learn. He seems to already know not to touch it. Nope. So he touched it, and now you'll notice he might touch it a few more times, but gradually Norns usually don't touch it again. Now let's stop that. One other thing that I want to teach him is the other way that I usually get Norns to follow me, which is by saying get Jessica or get hand. Now technically this is a little bit cruel because the Norn can never actually pick up the hand or touch it. But I found that this works better than come sometimes. I'm not sure why, but it does work. So if you say come and they're not really following along, try saying get hand or, as I'm saying, get Jessica, and he'll usually follow along, which is good. Another thing, we want to make sure that he continues to eat. So he'll choose whatever food source he wants. It's the honey right now. Delicious. We'll see if he wants to eat it. So there he goes. He ate it. That's very good. We will reward him for that. And again, you want to just keep teaching nouns and praising the Norn. And again, if he says that he wants to rest, I'm going to leave him alone. See, it looks like he's kind of doing pretty well at not running around like a maniac. Most Norns will, but he's doing pretty well. And he's a little cute guy. So he's definitely having a good time in this world. You can teach them a couple of other words if you want to. Look. Oh, if I can type. Yeah. That's a drink. So again, it's going to take him a couple times, but he's doing pretty well there. One other thing that you can do is to open up the observation kit in the meantime. This will allow you to keep an eye on everybody in your world. Right now, obviously, he's the only Norn, but you can see the name, if you have males or females, how old they are, their life force, medical. He's healthy right now. This will say that he's sick if ever there's a time when he's not doing too well. You can see he's having a good time. I'm just going to close the observation kit because it's a little large on the screen right now. But that's basically it. You can see he's doing really well at feeding himself. You can pop in and praise him if he's doing things that you're happy with. And he'll just kind of move about the world however he wants to. Again, you can stick with him as long as you want to, or we could let him go on his own and see what he wants to do. And there he goes. He's off into the garden area. Again, he's following the hand. Sometimes they might get a little bit attached to the hand, but this actually seems to work as a benefit because once I pop in every now and then, it seems to be a good thing. So you can see that. But that is pretty much it for this tutorial. I hope that there have been a couple of interesting tips, maybe some hints, maybe this will help you, maybe it won't. George seems to be running around the world though and having a good time. So that's it pretty much for now. Feel free to comment or share any other ideas or tips that you have for teaching Norns. There's a lot of different ways to do this, again, so find out what works for you. Maybe there's something else that you do that I haven't done here. That's, again, perfectly fine. Everybody plays it a different way. And that's pretty much it, though. So thank you for watching. Again, feel free to ask questions or comment if you want to see any other videos about Creatures 1. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I will talk to you again soon.